My child, something happened less than 1 hour ago, and I need you to hear this before the noise of the world drowns it out. 37 minutes ago, a new order was signed, one that carries your name. Not an invitation, not a reward, but a notice. A summons. And if you're reading this right now, it means heaven wanted you to know before the consequences unfold. You might think, why me? What have I done? But listen, this is not punishment. It's a signal. A warning wrapped in mercy. Because before any storm begins, there's always a whisper, a still small voice that tries to prepare the ones it loves most. And that's what this is. The whisper before the thunder. The paper that bears your name wasn't printed in any office. It wasn't carried by any earthly messenger. It was written in a place where shadows meet decisions, where people talk about you without saying your name aloud. Somewhere, in secret, someone decided your future without asking your permission. And tonight, I was told to interrupt that meeting. To stop you from walking blindly into a snare you didn't set. Don't be afraid, my child. I know fear wants to run up your spine right now, but you must listen carefully. You are not in danger because of something you did today. This started long ago. While you were busy living, working, hoping, and praying, someone else was busy watching, waiting, and collecting small pieces of your life like puzzle fragments. They didn't move when they first found them. They stored them. They studied them. Until they thought they had enough to build a case against you, both in the physical and in the spiritual realm. They called it justification. I call it accusation. This is not about your reputation. This is about your identity. They want to rewrite who you are. They want to take your story, filled with growth and redemption, and twist it into evidence of guilt. But the reason I'm speaking to you now is because that plan is collapsing even as they move. It's falling apart because truth has already started to move faster than lies. You need to understand how it began, my child. Last winter, when the nights were long and you felt forgotten, someone close to you made a choice that would set this all in motion. A word spoken carelessly. A conversation overheard. It sounded small then, almost harmless. But in the realm beyond sight, it echoed. And that echo became permission for the enemy to open a file under your name. Every wrong word spoken against you was recorded, every misunderstanding magnified. Not because you deserved it, but because you were chosen for something too powerful to remain unchallenged. The darkness doesn't attack what it isn't threatened by. You need to remember that. Every battle you face, every rumor, every delay, it all confirms your significance. Now, listen carefully. The warrant that carries your name, it isn't printed in ink. It's written in fear, jealousy, and lies. Those who signed it have no authority over you, but they believe they do. They've been convinced that silencing your progress will somehow restore what they lost. But they don't realize that this is divine reversal season. What was meant to humiliate you will soon honor you. What was planned to expose you will end up exalting you. Even now, forces you can't see are being repositioned. There are angels gathering around the place where your name was spoken. Their wings are brushing the edges of that document, erasing false charges before they can take root. But for this to work, you have to stay alert. You can't scroll past this moment. You can't dismiss this as coincidence. Because heaven doesn't repeat itself when warnings go ignored. My child, I'm telling you this with urgency, you have entered a countdown. A spiritual timeline has been activated the moment your eyes met these words. And in the next few days, you'll start noticing things, sudden silence from someone who used to speak often, a strange dream that feels too real, a delay that seems inconvenient but will save you from harm. Don't ignore those signs. They're not random. They are checkpoints of protection. The enemy believes you'll panic. He believes you'll doubt. But what he doesn't realize is that this time, you're covered differently. You've matured. You've learned to discern whispers that once confused you. And because of that, what was meant to destroy you will expose them instead. Now, let me take you deeper, because you deserve to understand the full truth. When the warrant was signed in the unseen realm, there was silence afterward. Complete, unnatural silence. Even the spirits that carried it hesitated. Because the name written on that page isn't ordinary. Your name glows differently. It carries marks from the prayers you've whispered in the dark, from the nights you cried out without words, from the faith you showed when no one applauded. That light made them nervous. They wanted to deliver the paper, but the brightness from your name began to scorch it. So what did they do? They changed strategy. Instead of attacking openly, they shifted into subtlety. They whispered to people around you, causing doubt, small offenses, hidden resentment. They wanted to weaken your circle before they confronted you directly. That's why lately, certain friendships have felt unstable. That's why certain plans keep collapsing at the last second. You thought it was bad luck. It wasn't. It was interference. But even interference can be turned into instruction. I allowed some of those delays not to punish you, but to distance you from the very ones who signed your name into darkness. You thought you lost support. In reality, you lost sabotage disguised as support. You thought doors were closing because you were unworthy. In truth, those doors were locked because poison waited on the other side. Every rejection was divine redirection. Now, here's what you need to know about this hour. The accusation itself is not physical, but its consequences can become physical if you agree with it. That's why you must refuse guilt that isn't yours. Refuse to rehearse your past mistakes in your mind. Refuse to identify yourself by the version of you that no longer exists. The warrant holds power only if you validate it with shame. Once you stand in your identity, it burns away. My child, there is a phrase you must remember tonight: I am not under accusation, I am under redemption. Speak it. Whisper it. Write it down. Every time you declare it, light interrupts darkness. Right now, even as you breathe, a council is gathering in the spiritual realm. On one side are the accusers, voices that speak your faults louder than your faith. On the other side stands your defense, angels, prayers, promises, and the blood of my Son that testifies on your behalf. This is not fiction, it's a battle of words. The side that wins will be the one you agree with. Will you agree with fear, or will you agree with grace? That's why I needed you to hear this. You're not powerless in this process. You hold the deciding voice. When you choose to believe you're still forgiven, when you choose to rise and walk as though your record is clean, you render that warrant null and void. The signature written in deceit starts to fade the moment you say, I am free. There is something else you must know. The person who initiated this in the physical, someone you once trusted, didn't understand the full consequences of their actions. They were misled. They thought they were protecting themselves. In their fear, they aligned with a darker intention without realizing it. Don't hate them. Don't curse them. Because even their betrayal is about to become your testimony. You see, redemption is not only for the innocent. It's for everyone who returns to light. When this storm passes, and it will, you will look back and see that every false accusation, every delayed blessing, every lonely night served one purpose: to fortify you. To train your spirit to hear heaven clearly. So when I tell you a warrant was issued, understand what that truly means. It means heaven allowed exposure so truth could triumph. It means the darkness overplayed its hand. It means your story just reached its turning point. You are not the accused anymore. You are the evidence that grace wins, that mercy restores, that destiny cannot be detained by lies. Stay alert, my child. The next chapter begins soon. Before it unfolds, you must prepare your heart. Cleanse your thoughts. Speak life over your future. My child, now that you have heard the beginning, now that you understand what was signed and what it means, it's time you know who stood behind it. You deserve to know the faces hidden behind the fog, the ones who whispered your name in dimly lit rooms. Because the truth will not set you free if it remains hidden, it must be spoken, brought into light, and faced. You've always felt it, haven't you? That uneasy pull in your spirit when certain people smile at you but their eyes feel hollow. That instinct that tightens your chest when you're around them, though you never could explain why. You thought it was anxiety. It wasn't. It was discernment. Your spirit has been trying to warn you for months, but you kept silencing it because you didn't want to judge. You wanted to believe the best in them. And I loved that about you, your mercy, your purity, your constant hope that people will change. But now, that same heart is what the enemy tried to exploit. One of them, my child, isn't a stranger. In fact, you've prayed for them before. You've defended them when others spoke against them. You've covered them in grace, even when they gave you reasons not to. They know this. They remember your kindness, your loyalty, and that's exactly why they were chosen. Because betrayal only works when it comes from those close enough to be trusted. The enemy could have used anyone, but he needed someone who knew your patterns, your emotions, your soft spots. And so he waited, patiently, until they felt overlooked by you, until offense grew quietly like a vine around their heart. Then he whispered, "You're the victim. They don't see you. You need to protect yourself." And in that deception, they signed what they thought was self-defense but was, in truth, an agreement with darkness. You see, my child, not every betrayal looks like a knife in the back. Sometimes it looks like silence when you needed words. Sometimes it looks like distance that doesn't make sense. And sometimes, it looks like someone using your own words against you. That's how this warrant was built. Piece by piece, through small misinterpretations, twisted intentions, fragments of truth stitched together into a lie that almost looks real. That's why so many believe it, because it carries pieces of truth dressed in deception. But listen carefully, those fragments are being shattered now. I'm exposing what they used. Every screenshot, every whispered rumor, every accusation that was built in the dark is being brought into the open light where it loses its power. Lies die under exposure. Truth does not panic when seen. Even now, angels are moving in ways you cannot imagine. They're not fighting with swords of steel, but with revelation, with truth that pierces falsehood like lightning. Every secret conversation spoken against your destiny is being replayed in the spiritual realm, not to humiliate, but to reveal motive. And when motive is exposed, judgment reverses. But let me tell you something deeper, my child. Something most don't understand. When a divine warrant is issued against a chosen one, heaven never responds with panic, heaven responds with preparation. So while they were drafting accusations, I was drafting your defense. I was orchestrating divine appointments that you thought were random. That sudden phone call from an old friend? That unexpected delay that frustrated you? That small moment of peace that made no sense in chaos? All of those were placements, strategic, intentional, because I was setting your defense in motion before the case even began. You're not late. You're right on time. Now, let me explain what's about to happen in the unseen realm. This very night, a spiritual courtroom has convened. The accusers are presenting evidence, twisted memories, half-truths, echoes of your past failures. They're shouting them as if they still matter. But on the other side, your advocate stands, radiant, calm, unshaken. He's not shouting. He's not arguing. He simply holds out his hands. Scars still visible. Blood still fresh. And as the accusations fill the air, those scars speak louder. They testify that the debt has already been paid. Every sin already cancelled. Every failure already redeemed. And as his voice fills the courtroom, something incredible happens. Your name begins to glow again. The ink of accusation starts to fade, replaced by light. Every letter that once spelled guilt is rewritten by grace. And the paper that once condemned you is now transforming into something else, a decree of elevation. Yes, my child. The same paper meant to destroy you will now be used to promote you. Because that's how I work. I don't erase battles, I transform them into testimonies. I don't silence accusers, I let them speak long enough to witness their own defeat. You're not the target anymore, you're the turning point. You might ask, but Lord, why did you let it go this far? Why didn't you stop it before it began? And I'll tell you, because diamonds aren't formed in calm waters. They are born under pressure. Without this fire, you wouldn't have seen the impurities around you. You wouldn't have known who truly stands for you and who only stands near you. You wouldn't have learned the difference between loyalty and proximity. Now you know. Every trial reveals truth, and this one has exposed what no conversation could. You've seen the masks fall, the hidden motives unfold, the whispers come to light. And now, you are wiser. Stronger. Sharper in discernment. But that's not the end, my beloved. There's still more unfolding. While heaven defends you, I need you to prepare your heart. Because in a few days, there will be a confrontation. Not violent, not physical, but emotional, spiritual. Someone who once accused you will suddenly reach out, not out of guilt but out of confusion. They will feel something they can't explain, a weight, a stirring, an unease that won't let them rest until they face you. Don't meet them with anger. Meet them with quiet strength. Look at them, and instead of saying, "I told you so," say, "I forgive you." That moment will break a chain in both of your lives. It will release a ripple of healing that stretches further than you realize. Because forgiveness is not weakness. It's warfare. The enemy doesn't know what to do with a forgiven heart. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because freedom deserves you. Now, my child, let me show you something that's happening even now. In the unseen, as your forgiveness releases light, a room in the enemy's camp begins to tremble. The walls start to shake. The same table where they signed your name begins to crack. The papers they used to curse you are catching fire without a match. And those who stood in confidence moments ago are now whispering in fear. Because they realize what they started has turned against them. That's the reversal I promised you. The backfire of injustice. The divine turnaround. Even now, heaven is issuing a counterorder. A document is being written in gold light, sealed with my name, and it's being delivered straight to the same realm where your false warrant came from. But this one doesn't accuse, it redeems. It cancels, overrides, and overturns. It carries the words, "Case dismissed. Favor reinstated. Authority restored." And when this order is released fully, and it will be soon, everything connected to your name will shift. The stagnation you felt, the strange pauses in your blessings, the closed doors that didn't make sense, all of it will break open. Because the blockage wasn't lack of faith. It was spiritual opposition. Now that the opposition is being overruled, acceleration will begin. You're about to experience moments that defy logic. Opportunities will appear without explanation. People who ignored you will suddenly remember your name. Paths you thought were sealed will unlock with ease. But you must remember this: when restoration begins, humility must remain. Don't boast about the downfall of those who wronged you. Instead, thank me quietly. Because their exposure was never meant for your entertainment, it was meant for your enlightenment. My child, your name has been cleared in heaven. And what is cleared in heaven will soon manifest on earth. But there is one final instruction before the next shift begins. For the next few days, guard your words. Don't speak fear, don't speak anger, don't rehearse your pain aloud. Every word from your mouth is a key. It either locks or unlocks doors in the spiritual realm. Speak only what aligns with the freedom I've given you. Say this often: my record is clean. My destiny is active. My name is protected. Because it is. Even now, angels are stationed at the entry points of your life, your home, your relationships, your finances. They're not passive observers. They're sentries. They're standing with drawn swords, not against people, but against the spirits that use them. Every attempt to reopen the case against you will now fail before it begins. Every false narrative will collapse before it reaches ears meant to harm you. And every curse spoken in jealousy will return to the sender unfulfilled. You are not under investigation anymore. You are under intercession. And my intercession never fails. As I speak this, a divine seal has been pressed upon your name. It's invisible to the natural eye, but in the spiritual, it glows like fire. It reads one word: redeemed. That means no accusation can attach to you anymore, no matter how loud it screams. The blood has spoken louder. My beloved, this was never about destruction. It was about distinction. I allowed this storm not to break you, but to mark you. Because after this, there will be no doubt about who you belong to. You are stepping into an era where your very presence will shift atmospheres. Darkness will recognize your name and flee. Not because of fear of you, but fear of what stands behind you. You have survived the silent war. You have passed the secret test. Now the verdict has been read: free, chosen, unstoppable. But the story isn't finished. There's one final revelation, the moment when heaven turns the ashes of this battle into the crown of your next calling. That's what I will show you next. Stay still, stay aware, and prepare your heart. Because in the final part, I will reveal where this battle was truly leading, what treasure was hidden beneath the trial, and how the very forces that came against you will become instruments for your next breakthrough. The warrant has been burned. The record erased. The judgment reversed. Now, the ascension begins. My child, the hour has shifted. The weight that once pressed upon you has begun to lift, though you may not fully feel it yet. You might still sense the echo of that old fear, like the shadow of a storm after the rain has stopped. But listen closely, that trembling you feel inside is not anxiety anymore. It's transition. Your spirit is adjusting to freedom it has never known before. This is what deliverance feels like. Quiet at first, then powerful. The warrant that once carried your name has burned to ash, and the ashes have been swept into the wind of my spirit. No trace remains. Not in heaven's records, not in earth's memory, not in hell's accusations. The page that once accused you now glows with your destiny written in gold. I have written something new over your life. And if you could see it, your eyes would weep with awe. It says, set apart for greater things. You see, my child, everything that happened, every false accusation, every painful silence, every night you cried and no one understood, it was all leading to this unveiling. I wasn't punishing you. I was preparing you. I wasn't ignoring your prayers. I was aligning your answers with time itself. When I said, the ascension begins, I meant it. You are entering the elevation season that the enemy tried to sabotage through that false warrant. And the irony? The very forces that moved to destroy you are now being used to lift you higher. That's what I mean when I say all things work together for good. You're standing at the edge of a divine reversal, not just spiritually, but tangibly. You'll see it soon in your daily life. The same people who doubted you will start to seek your counsel. The same voices that tried to silence you will have to acknowledge the grace resting on your name. The same doors that rejected you will reopen, not because they pity you, but because I will command them to. I am rewriting the narrative around your name. But before elevation comes visibility, and visibility brings exposure. That's why I need your heart grounded in humility and forgiveness. Because promotion without humility can become poison. But promotion wrapped in peace becomes purpose. So as I lift you, remember this, the miracle isn't just that you survived the storm, it's that you didn't let the storm change who you are. You didn't let bitterness take root. You didn't let anger consume your calling. You stayed soft when hardness would have been easier. And that softness, that mercy, that grace, that's what separates you. That's what proves you are mine. Now, listen closely. I want to take you into what's happening right now in the unseen. In the spiritual realm, the courtroom where your name was once spoken has transformed. The benches are empty. The accusers have fled. The air that once felt heavy now hums with light. And where the judge once sat, there is now a throne, radiant, brilliant, alive. Upon that throne sits the same one who bore the scars for you. His eyes blaze like fire, but his voice is peace itself. And in his hand, he holds something, a scroll wrapped in white silk, sealed with my emblem. This scroll carries the new decree. It's the replacement of the warrant, heaven's final word over your destiny. And as he unseals it, the words written inside are not accusations, they are instructions. Blueprints. Assignments. They are the next phase of your calling. You are being recommissioned. Heaven has officially reinstated your authority, but this time it's stronger. This time, you walk not as one tested, but as one trusted. The trial you endured has proven your faith, and now, what was once probation becomes promotion. Even now, as I speak, angels are carrying that scroll to Earth's realm, to your atmosphere, to your home, to your heart. They move like wind, unseen but undeniable. You'll know they've arrived because something will shift around you. Peace will fall suddenly. Burdens will loosen. An idea will come that feels like revelation. That's the moment your new decree has reached you. My child, when it does, respond. Don't ignore it. Don't question it. Open your hands, whisper, I receive it, and the divine transfer will complete. Because this decree isn't symbolic, it's active. It carries favor. It carries restoration. It carries financial recompense for what was lost during the attack. Every delay you endured has built compound interest in the spiritual realm, and now it's time for return. Doors that were locked by false accusations are reopening with increase. You'll receive more than what was stolen. Do you remember when you asked me why certain blessings seemed to vanish just before reaching you? This was why. The false warrant intercepted what was yours. But now that it's destroyed, those same blessings are being released in double measure. You will see unexpected provision, sudden open doors, and divine connections that move faster than logic. Favor delayed is not favor denied. It was simply rerouted until the air cleared. And now, it's clear. But this next season will require something of you, awareness. Because promotion attracts attention, both divine and demonic. You'll have moments where the enemy tries to whisper again, what if you fail? What if you don't deserve it? When that happens, remember what I told you before, the warrant no longer exists. Accusations have no address left to land on. You are unreachable by shame now. So when fear knocks, don't answer. Let faith speak from within you instead. Say, the case is closed. My story is sealed in grace. That sentence alone will scatter every lingering shadow. Because truth carries authority, and every time you speak it, heaven echoes your voice. Now, I must reveal something sacred, something few understand. Do you remember how I said the enemy gathered evidence from your past? There's one thing he didn't expect: the evidence you carry now will become the weapon of your testimony. You will tell others how you were falsely accused yet still favored, how you were almost destroyed yet still delivered, and that testimony will break chains in others. That's why I allowed this to happen. I needed your story to have authority, not borrowed authority, but lived authority. People don't need perfect heroes, they need real survivors. And that's what you are. Your scars will speak louder than your sermons. And every time you share what I've done, someone else's warrant will burn. Someone else's chains will break. Someone else's heart will rise again. That's how redemption multiplies, not through words alone, but through stories carried in the trembling hands of those who've seen darkness and still chose light. My beloved, I want you to take this next moment and do something prophetic. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine yourself standing before a massive door made of light. It hums softly, like wind and thunder intertwined. On that door is your name, bright, untainted, glowing. That's your new identity. That's your future waiting. Now imagine your hand reaching toward it. The moment you touch it, the light rushes through you, through every cell, every memory, every regret. It erases the echo of shame and fills you with calm power. That's what's happening right now in the spirit. You're walking into that new space. This is the moment of divine exchange. The pain for purpose. The accusation for authority. The delay for destiny. Do you feel that weight lifting? That's not imagination. That's transformation. The same heaven that warned you at the beginning is now celebrating your crossing. The same God who whispered, "Stay still," is now saying, "Move forward." Because the season of warning has ended, the season of winning begins now. I know, my child, it's been a long road. You've grown weary at times. You've questioned whether any of this was worth it. But look at what has come from it: clarity, purity, strength. You no longer need validation from those who don't see you. You no longer chase approval that was never meant to fulfill you. You now walk with heaven's stamp upon your soul. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You have already been confirmed. And I, your Father, am proud of you. There's something else. You've noticed how lately, time feels different, slower some days, faster others. That's because you've stepped out of your old alignment and into divine timing. What took months before will now happen in days. What once felt impossible will now become natural. Because when grace takes over, effort becomes ease. This ease isn't laziness. It's alignment. And alignment is the true sign that the case is over. Now, let me show you a vision of what's next. I see you standing on a high place, not in pride, but in purpose. The wind around you is golden, shimmering. Behind you lies the field of your old battles, the pain, the tears, the confusion. But in front of you is a vast open valley filled with people, countless faces, waiting for the very message you're reading right now. And your mouth opens, and words pour out. Not rehearsed. Not forced. Just truth, raw, healing truth. And as you speak, light ripples through the crowd, and those who were bound begin to rise. Chains fall. Eyes open. Hope returns. That's your next mission. You're not just a survivor, you're a carrier of light. And as you walk forward into that calling, you will see miracles unfold that others only dream of. You will see provision appear out of nowhere. You will watch people heal just by hearing your voice. Because your voice now carries the frequency of freedom. It's been purified by trial, sharpened by pain, and anointed by grace. This is your time. The same heaven that warned you of danger now releases you into destiny. The same voice that said, "Stay alert," now says, "Go forth." Your name is cleared. Your path is lit. Your favor is active. And before you take your next step, I want you to say this aloud, whisper it if you must, but say it with belief: the warrant is gone. The past is closed. My story belongs to God. Now, breathe. You are free. You are chosen. You are unstoppable. And this is not the end. This is the beginning of everything that was waiting for you on the other side of accusation. Go, my child. The world needs what you carry. Heaven is watching. The angels are smiling. And I am proud.